For all you fantasy football fans, who doesn't love the excitement of picking your team? It's probably the best part of the season. Well, get this. You can do that any week when you play in 1 week fantasy football leagues at FanDuel.com. This is next level fantasy football. Every week is a whole season at FanDuel. You play for real money, and winners get immediate cash payouts. There's no season-long commitment, so you only play when you want. Plus, you can play in fantasy football leagues for as little as $1. Nothing beats the excitement of living out a whole season of fantasy football in just 1 week. Every week is a chance to win big at FanDuel. Plus, right now, FanDuel is giving you a bonus of up to $200 that gets earned as you play. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match it up to $200. The only way to get this one-time bonus offer is to click the banner now or go to FanDuel.com and enter the promo code FF9000. That's FANDUEL.com, promo code FF9000.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, you are now tuned in to 110 Sports Talk. I go by the name Lynn Knight. Hey,
it's the best.
Running through the competition, no competition. You don't believe it, turn us up. Sit back and listen. We bringing you the stats, all the breaking news and facts. Want the latest on the biggest trade? Well, this is where it's at. We don't talk it, boy, we live it. Got that all around coverage. From track and field, you name a field, we got it all covered. No diss to Derrick Rose, but we don't talk that bull. Just wait till he get healthy, better watch out for them bulls. Slide over the hockey, shout out to the Kings. Salute to LeBron James, y'all both got y'all rings. Looking for the real, you tune into the best. The sportologist and Mr. CJ Sports is up next.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Glad to be here on this Hump Day Wednesday. Week half over. We've had an amazing week so far. Between having Chris Knight, the PR for the guest we're getting ready to have on here at 9:30, Sarah Cornett Ching, and then having Patrick Taylor from Line Blowers, and then, of course, having our very own NHL expert, Izzo, join us last night. It's been a great week. I am very excited about having Sarah return to the show tonight. Catch up with her. Like I said last night, I can't believe it's been 2 months since we've had her on the show. I thought it was just a few weeks, maybe a month at the most. Look back in the old calendar, July 21st. It's been a hot minute. So looking forward to get caught up with her, get to listen to her talk about Salem coming up, and her push towards finishing out a great season and finish out and have a great weekend coming up. And what the upcoming 2016 season is looking, and just a bunch of different things that we get an opportunity to talk to her about. Of course, the second half of the show, we're going to be doing NFL picks. I went 11-5 last week. Almost won a football pool, not as good as I wanted to start the year off, but I'll take 11-5. Shorty went 4 had 8 losses, so yeah, 8-8. So not quite as decent a weekend I have. We'll see if we'll get her to join her later on. And she's not feeling the greatest right now, so it might just be me doing my picks this week. Who knows? Got some other hot topics that we're going to talk about leading up to Sarah, and then, of course, after having Sarah on the show. I'm looking forward to having those topics. If you've not checked out the website, go over to www.the110nation.com. Check out all the latest stuff going on in the 110 Nation. Also, if you've not checked out the blog site, go over to www.the110nationsports.com. Make sure you guys check that out. Also, you can check out my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, our sport and side of the house, 110 Nation Sports, or the guest, and the radio side of the house, 110 Nation Sports Radio. Also, we have the 110 Nation Facebook group. We have a group that gives us an opportunity to talk sports, hit on all the big headlines, hot topics, do live game feeds or live race feeds, to bring all the sports fans together in one place to be able to talk about things going on in the sporting world. Make sure you guys check that out. It's called the 110 Nation. Join our face group. We got a contest going till the end of the month. If we get 250 members by September 30th, we here at the 110 Nation are giving out a $25 prepaid Visa gift card. So help spread the word. Join the group. That way somebody can have a little spending money come this holiday season. Fines were handed out today. And one of the big fines that were handed out today was Adam Jones fined $35,000 for slamming Amari Cooper's head. Kind of a ugly scene here, as I've had the opportunity a few times to see this video. Caught it either earlier today or last night, them talking about it. Surprised maybe there was not more of a suspension on this. Pac-Man Jones, or Adam Jones, whatever you know him as, is feeling that the $35,000 was a little bit much. Says that he'll probably do it again, that he's a passionate player, and I don't know. I know all these players think this, and I can't promise it won't happen again. I'm an emotional player, the exact words. Some things you need to leave to yourself. Some things you don't need to share with the media. Some things you don't need to share with the public. Regardless if you're sorry or not, regardless if you think you're going to do it or not, you kind of need to keep those things to yourself. Now, not only are you looking like that $35,000 fine was really a slap on the wrist, because you're saying, hey, that was only $35,000, I'll do it again. I can't promise it won't happen again. But now you've kind of been a target for the officials in the NFL. And what I mean by it is now you're going to have the officials in the NFL kind of keeping an extra eye on you to see how you're playing, to see if you're playing dirty, to see if your emotions, since you labeled yourself as an emotional player, is going to get the best of you in another incident and you go over the edge. After watching the video of the Cincinnati quarterback Adam Jones ripping off Oakland Raiders receiver Amari Cooper's helmet and then slamming his head into it, everyone assumed Jones was going to get in major trouble by the NFL. I was assuming, and I'm seeing this video again right now, and it's just crazy to watch him rip it off and him slam. Not only did he slam his head down, he slammed his head on the helmet. And the NFL to only give him a $35,000, and I know I say only $35,000, and Adam Jones feels that was an extreme amount. I'm sorry, but $35,000 is not a lot of money for what I am seeing here. A rookie player in his first game, and you're watching somebody that is a veteran of the league let a rookie kind of get the best of his emotions and let the ugliness, the part of the football that we don't need our kids seeing come out and kind of showing the young generation that this is something that is acceptable, and players do this. And I think the NFL is kind of dropping the ball on this. This is something that should the NFL should use as an example to especially after we've watched these videos the last couple of weeks out of high school football, where we watched the referee get blindsided by those two high school football players, and then yesterday or the day before we were talking about the player that ripped off the other player's helmet, then used that helmet to smash the other player in the head. The NFL needs to set an example. You are the authority. You are you set the benchmark here. You are what sets the attitude, the tone, the attitude, anything and everything that these kids from about 11, 12 years old really on up, especially in high school and moving to college football, on what's acceptable, what's tolerated, what should be seen on a football field. And when you have players out there doing what Adam Jones is doing, and yet you slap them on the wrist with a $35,000 fine, and that's the extent of what you really do, you're really not setting a good example. You're not really eliminating this out of the sport. I mean, a $35,000 fine is kind of really chump change to someone like Adam Jones, who's been in the league for the many years he has and the contracts he has seen. And yet that's what the league, I would have expected more of a $50,000 to maybe $75,000 fine and at least a 1, maybe 2 game suspension. That's more of what I would expect. It's more of what I would expect. Now I'm getting the time. More of what I would expect out of the NFL, to set this example, to let not only these young kids growing up, but also the rest of the league know that we are not going to tolerate this. The NFL waited way too long to step in with the whole fight, as we watched at training camp and scrimmage games, fight after fight after fight. And it took a couple fights for the NFL to step in, and then they really still didn't do nothing, even when the fights happened and it kept going on. This is an opportunity right here for the NFL to get ahead of it, to make sure that what we've seen out of Adam Jones on Amari Cooper does not happen again. And yet they chose not to. They chose it was in their best interest to kind of slap them on the wrist and let it go. And really not take advantage of an opportunity that was presented in front of them to make sure that they eliminated this out of their sport now and upcoming generations. It's funny because you're willing to throw Adrian Peterson, and I'm not trying to use this as really not a good example. Somebody can go there because he just hasn't been out for a year what he did as a child. But anyway, I don't know. So many issues in the NFL. Why not take advantage of the opportunity? And why not take advantage of the opportunity, eliminate it now, and you have nothing to worry about, or at least to know that, look, if we do this, this is what's going to happen. So let's not do this. Let's make sure that let's make sure that we are there for every game to give our team or my team the best opportunity to win games. So I don't like what the NFL did. I think they went too easy. I would like them to make an example out of Adam Jones, and let's get this back to being I'm not gonna say a gentleman's game because I like some sense of it having the roughness, but at the same time, I don't want it to get ugly, and I don't want my children to have to be exposed to this and think it is part of the game. Texans, Houston. exits Brian Hoyer. In goes Ryan Mallett at the quarterback position. Didn't take long for Brian Hoyer, a quarterback that couldn't last in Cleveland. Didn't take him long to last long in Houston. Brian Hoyer's debut as a Houston Texans starting quarterback wasn't good. He was intercepted on his first pass, attempted by Kansas City Chief rookie Marcus Peters, well inside Houston's territory, and he was pulled in the fourth quarter for Ryan Mallett when the Texans were down 27-9. I think it's a good move. I think that Brian Hoyer is a decent backup, but not starting quarterback material. So Houston going into this weekend, they will be using Ryan Mallett as their starting quarterback. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting how quickly they decided to make this quarterback change into the season. It's game one. You still got a lot of things to adjust to. And yet, the Houston Texans feel that it's in their best interest to change directions already. Like I said, I thought it was interesting. I'm not necessarily knocking the move. I just would have expected a quarterback. I expected the quarterback to get a little bit more of an opportunity than 3+ quarters before we go ahead and make switches. There's a lot of things that don't happen in the preseason that happen in the regular season. And you don't get the opportunity to see them until you're on the field and in real time with real starting lineups and everything else. And so it's one of the things that you got to just understand. Brian Hoyer is a veteran quarterback, but is also on a new team going against another team that has different lineups than did last year. So, like I said, I'm just really surprised on how quick the move came when it came to switching out the quarterbacks. So, I would assume and figure that most teams at least give their starting quarterbacks a week or two, at least a couple weeks to kind of feel it out and get things where they need to be. But instead, the Houston Texans decided that's not what's going to happen, and they're going to go in a different direction. Power rankings that came out, these are always interesting. Always love having the opportunity to read power rankings and see how people feel that teams are ranked. We're going to run through these 32 in the next few minutes before we get there on the show. I'm going to give my opinions on it, and it's always interesting, and sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't agree, and so... Number 32, not a big surprise, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thank you, Jameis Winston, for proving me right and being the busted number one quarterback that you are against a Tennessee team that really was not that great. Yes, Marcus Mariota looks good with his 4 touchdowns. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense to stop anybody. Did you really? Number 31, Jacksonville Jaguars. Not a big surprise either. With their 0-1 start, trailing 10-9 in third quarter, Blake Bortles threw a terrible interception that was returned by Josh Norman for an easy touchdown. If Bortles was going to make a leap, he can't keep making mistakes like that. I don't know if they're necessarily 31st ranked material, but there's a lot of work that needs to happen for the Jacksonville a lot of work, and it's a team that has been a work in progress for a long time now. And old-fashioned typewriter. Definitely, I'm working on number 30 in Oakland. Sorry, I got 20,000 things coming in at me at one time here. Oakland Raiders, yes, I think they should be like your number 31 or maybe 32 team. That was a horrible outing against the Cincinnati Bengals. Last week they had them ranked 28th. They moved them down to 30th. I could see them 31st or 32nd. Derek Carr injury didn't help. Just a really bad performance offensively, defensively. It didn't really matter what side of the ball or what the Oakland Raiders did. It was just horrible, and the Oakland Raiders got a lot of work to do. Number 29, the Washington Redskins. Jackson's out 3 to 4 weeks. You still got your you still got your quarterback controversy with the RG3, whether or not he's your second string, third string, or if he's going to be back at the starting quarterback position. Really a big dark cloud of hovering over the Washington Redskins, and 29th might be complimentary for the Washington Redskins at this point. But 29th so far, I guess it could be worse. I wouldn't have them any better. Chicago Bears, the 28th power-ranked team. Jay Cutler led Chicago Bears. I guess we really can't expect much out of that. Tennessee Titans, I'm glad that this power ranking did not have Tennessee really no higher than 27th. I think that there's too much being made of about Marcus Mariota and what he did with his 4 touchdowns against the Tampa Bay defense. I like the fact that nobody with any kind of common sense is really power ranking them too high. As soon as you turn on ESPN, that is all that they've been talking about every time I turn it on. Is Marcus Mariota this and a debut that let's wait until they play a legitimate team with a legitimate defense. Let's wait until they play the San Francisco 49ers. Their defense was pretty stout last week. Let's wait until they play the Buffalo Bills defense or a Pittsburgh Steelers defense or even a Miami Dolphins defense. Cincinnati was their efforts this week. Baltimore Ravens didn't allow a single offensive touchdown. Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot of teams that I would like to see this Tennessee team play. There's a lot of teams I would like to see this Tennessee team play before I get sold in on how good this quarterback is or it isn't. 26th ranked is the Cleveland Browns. Gosh, shucks, you guys are being too nice. This power ranking is just complimentary to the Cleveland Browns. 26? You're giving them 26? You lost 31-10 to the Jets, the Jets, who S-U-C-K-S. Yes, they suck. And so I'm really surprised that Cleveland even got a 27 or a 26 rank in the power ranking. New York Giants 25th. I don't necessarily agree with that. Went toe-to-toe with the Dallas Cowboys, who I feel is going to win the NFC East. A team that is really good, what 12-4 last year. I don't know if I necessarily would put them down 25th. I definitely wouldn't have them worse than the Jets. I mean, the Jets is the 24th ranked team, and okay, you beat the Cleveland Browns 31-10. Not really accomplishing a lot there. Houston Texans number 23, in their loss, you lost to Kansas City. You lost to a good team. 23 is pretty fair. I would say mid-20s. You obviously got a quarterback issue. Minnesota Vikings, you put up 3 measly points. You, Carlos Hyde, about outperformed your entire team. The former Ohio State Buckeye, who just kind of stepped into the starting running back role, and you allowed this man to really outperform you. 20 seconds, probably a little high. I had this argument about Teddy Bridgewater earlier. Not that great of a quarterback. I don't care what he did at the end of last year. You had a lot of teams that didn't matter. Either they were in or they were out. They really didn't make a difference. They won or lost at the point. So, you know, I'm waiting to see what Teddy Bridgewater does at the beginning of the year when the games actually matter. San Francisco 49ers, 20-3, a home opener, and everything that the 49ers have overcome with players retiring, players being let go because they can't stay out of trouble, and you only give them a 21st. I don't know. They moved up from 24th. I would have them a little bit higher on this list. Carolina Panthers at 20th, a fair start off for the Carolina Panthers. I wouldn't want too high because they just played the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, they moved up 1 spot in this power ranking from 21st to 20th. I could fare with that. New Orleans Saints stayed still at the 19th spot, 0-1. I was not. It's Arizona, the New Orleans Saints. You played Arizona. I give you that much. Arizona team that I think is going to be the head of the class in the NFC West. I agree, but I don't know. Arizona. Then you got Atlanta Falcons who came back against the Philadelphia Eagles. I can see 18th being there. It's just the Eagles. Sam Bradford led an Eagle team that has not really been the head of the NFC East in a long time. So I have no problem with them being the 18th ranked team. St. Louis Rams only get the 17th spot after you beat the Seattle Seahawks. That team that just came from the Super Bowl. Yes, they lost, but just came from the Super Bowl. The team that's supposedly one of the best in the NFC or back in the NFL period. And they only move up 1 spot from 18th to 17th and only get the 17th rank when you beat the Seattle Seahawks. How does that work? How are you ranked behind the Detroit Lions, who lost their home opener and was not really all that impressed by? I don't know quite how this is. Speaking of the impressed, you had the other end of that, the San Diego Chargers only moved up 2 spots with that win. And so I don't necessarily agree with that as well. I would really expect the San Diego Chargers to be a little bit higher on the power rankings, especially in comparison to the Detroit Lions. The Detroit loses 2 spots, goes back to 16th. San Diego loses 2 spots to go to 15th. And you got the team that won just one spot ahead. Philadelphia, the 14th ranked team with a loss. How does Atlanta, with all their weapons on the offense and a defense that showed us a little something, get the 18th ranked spot, but Philadelphia all the way up to 14th with a loss? I just not quite feeling these rankings so far. I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to keep going until we get our guest to call in. 13th ranked Buffalo, I like this. 13th, maybe even the top 10. I can see them actually being better in Kansas City. Yes, you played the Indianapolis Colts. You played a really good opponent that a lot of people thought was going to be the front runner of the AFC South. A team that has Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, a bunch of talented players. Like I said, a team that everybody had picked to win the AFC South. Buffalo comes in, wins with ease, only jumps up 2 spots into the top 13. Like I said, I feel this team being a top 10 team. Is really going to give the New England Patriots a run for their money this week in their upcoming matchup. I'm really excited about seeing how the New England Patriots game plan for Rex Ryan and this new improved Buffalo Bills team no more. If the Buffalo Bills can handle the return, the defending champions, and if they manage to lose, if the Buffalo Bills lose, I want to know if this is going to be an organization, a franchise. This is where I'm going to pause that, where we're going to talk about the last 12 after we get done talking with Sarah, and then we're going to do our picks. I want to know, will this be the first franchise in 4 regular season playoff games, in other words, no playoff game or no preseason games? Could the Buffalo Bills be the first team in 4 opponents that actually lose with style, lose with sportsmanship, lose with grace? Because you have the Indianapolis Colts, as a matter of fact, be the first in 5 games. You have the Indianapolis Colts, the Baltimore Ravens, the Seattle Seahawks, all 3, one way or another, accusing the New England Patriots of cheating. And then you have the first game of the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which you have 2 different incidents that they were accused of cheating. Can the Buffalo Bills be the first opponent, 5 opponents, that man up if they lose, act like grown professional men, take it on the chin, not start pointing fingers, and roll with it and continue on to week 3? Really want to see this happen. I'm waiting to see the first team that loses to the Patriots that take it like a man and doesn't make a big fuss, doesn't start pointing fingers and everything else. Like I said, I'm dying to see this. Hopefully we get an opportunity to see this weekend. Is this something that we have not seen in a hot minute? And like I said, I would greatly appreciate being able to see a team actually be out there and act like professionals, act like adults out there, instead of just naturally just start pointing fingers and just accusing the New England Patriots of cheating. Like I sincerely hope this is what happens. I hope that, and I know it's not going to happen because we know Rex Ryan. We know that Rex Ryan is going to be quick to be the first one to really put his mouth. It's just Rex Ryan. It's in Rex Ryan's nature. And so we know that it's not going to happen, but I would really like to see it. I am tired of every week we hear the same thing, that the New England Patriots this and the New England Patriots that. And it's not even the case, and you have no proof. You can't just sit there and constantly point fingers and make accusations on somebody. It's just, it's old. And people eventually start tuning it out and not listening to it. It makes me wonder, upon a time we're going to have somebody actually have proof, and the New England Patriots or team actually cheat, and nobody's going to care because we're tired of hearing it, and it's been played out. But anyway, before we finish the top 12 and do our picks, I do have a guest waiting in the studio, waiting graciously, and I don't want to hold her up. She's got a busy schedule. She's got a lot of things to do. I mean, she got a wonderful, wonderful racing career going on, and we get the opportunity to have her back on the show and catch up with her. Like I said, it's hard to believe it has been almost 2 months. Yesterday when I was talking about it, we ain't had her in 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. I started looking at the calendar book. And the week started adding up. July 21st. It is hard to believe that it has been almost 2 months, just 5 days short. Time has gone by too quick. So looking forward to having the opportunity to catch up with her, what it's been like for the last couple months for the upcoming race and the rest of the season and life in general. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get Sarah on the show. Sarah, how are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Glad to have the opportunity to talk to you again. I'm glad that you made a return to the show. Like last time, before we jump into this, I want to give you an opportunity to plug yourself, social media, websites, sponsors, anything you would like to throw out there. That way the fans get an opportunity to know you and follow you and be able to keep up with you on a more consistent basis throughout the season and your career. Hello?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit there, but yeah, we've got Facebook, www.facebook.com/NBCWrestling, and Twitter is @SCornetChain, and we've actually got a pretty cool design contest going on right now for one of our charities, Pit Stops for Hope. Some of the fans designed some wraps for the race car, and we're having people vote on them to see which ones end up on the car. And another thing we've actually got going right now is a partnership for Kentucky, which we'll be announcing this week. So a lot of exciting things in the mix right now, and looking forward to the last 3 ARCA races and building our schedule for next year.
You know, I gotta thank NBC Sports. Up until this year, honestly, I have not caught a lot of ARCA races. I had not caught a lot of K&N Pro Series races. There was a lot of things that I had to miss because there was not a lot of coverage. You being in the driver's seat and you being out there on the track, how much of a difference has it made that now we have a TV station out there that has helped bring in more attention and more exposure to your guys' series, the series that we don't necessarily see all the time? How much does that help changing the sport and the ARCA series for you guys?
It's definitely important whenever we can race on TV. It boosts the exposure for all of our partners and for our drivers, too. I'm really lucky to be in the seat this year, and to have all the TV coverage we do is awesome. The only thing I could actually ask for is if it could get broadcast and my parents could watch.
You know, I just having the opportunity to catch these races, I've got to learn more about the upcoming talent in this sport, and it's just really great. You know, it's an opportunity, I think, that NASCAR and these major these major sports networks have really dropped the ball on when it comes to NASCAR and all the series. Even with the K&N Pro Series, and you know you got a West and an East and everything else. I know that there's a lot of things going on in NASCAR and a lot of things a lot of people just don't know. So I really tip my hat to NBC Sports, because without them, I would still be clueless. I still would have probably not caught an ARCA Series race. As a matter of fact, to be 100% honest, the only ARCA Series race I caught was the one that Danica ran, because I'm a Danica fan. So you know, this whole exposure thing for this sport has been great, and has really helped me really become, you know, more informed and know what's going on, not only in your guys' series with the K&N Pro Series and upcoming talent, and getting the opportunity to see more of the drivers that we've had on the show. So it has really been cool. It's been a couple months since we had you on the show, and like I said, it doesn't seem like it has been that long. I honestly thought when I was starting to say it last night, it was only been a few weeks, and I looked back at the calendar and realized it was towards the end of July. How's the racing been going since we last spoke?
It's been going really well. We've had, I guess, 6 or so races since we last talked, and we had a really great finish at Chicagoland, which ended up being one of my favorite tracks this year. We went to some tracks that I had never seen before again, and we battled through. We're still sitting 6th in points, which is awesome. If we can stay there through the end of the year, we'll tie Shauna Robinson's record of highest finishing female in the sport's history, which will be a really good accomplishment for my rookie year. And we ran 2 dirt races, which were just the last 2 races we ran. And I had a really good time on the dirt. That's something I'd never done before. So we learned all the way through that and actually finished 11th at DuQuoin, which also ties the highest finishing female on a dirt track in ARCA. So we've had a really good season, and we're looking forward to wrapping it up on a high note and hopefully grab a top 5. And if we can, move into 5th in points or hold on to 6th and just that record.
How much of an adjustment is that for you to go from the dirt or from the asphalt to the dirt and vice versa? I can only imagine, the different driving styles and how different it has to be. I did get to catch that dirt race, and it was really cool to watch. It was something different. I don't know. I guess I was expecting a little bit more high bank. I don't know. I was expecting more of what I've seen at the local tracks, I guess, than versus what I've seen. It was a pretty flat track, if I recall correctly. So it was not quite what I was quite expecting. But how much of an adjustment is it for you to go from asphalt to the dirt, and how difficult is it for you?
It was definitely a change. There's so many elements to dirt track racing that you don't see on asphalt racing. Like, they'll prep the track surface at the beginning of the day, so it'll be really wet, and you'll slide around a whole bunch more. And as the day goes on, like at DuQuoin especially, it was so dry that the track was actually coming apart. So on corner entry, you'd be driving over big holes, and it would set the car sideways, and it really comes a lot more down to the driver than having that perfect setup like you need on asphalt. So there was a lot of different things. One of the biggest at DuQuoin was on restarts when we'd all go into turn 1, there'd be so much dust in the air that you could only see the car in front of you's bumper, and maybe if you're lucky, the person to your outside, and other than that, all you see is dust. So a lot of different elements, and I really enjoyed it. I had a good time, but I'm glad to be back to asphalt for these last 3.
Are you more of an oval kind of girl, or the road courses that you guys get to travel on? Do you like them? Do you have a preference?
Going into this year, I hadn't run on a road course until we went to New Jersey, and I did really enjoy the road course racing. Like we said last time I was on the show, we finished 9th, which was the highest finishing female record again on the road course, which feels awesome. I had a blast. The shifting and everything, again, adds a new element to it where you have more places to pass and more places to outbrake or gain time on somebody. But as far as my record goes with road course racing, we haven't had too much experience, so I have to stick with oval on my preference.
Ms. Lee wants to know, how do you feel returning to Salem?
I feel good. We were there testing on Sunday, and we had a pretty fast car right off the trailer. We kind of chased it through the end of the day, but right off the bat we were really happy with it. So it's back at the shop now, and all the guys at the shop that worked so hard on the car getting it ready for our trip up there. And I think having those extra laps at the racetrack and not going into it blind like last last time we were there this year, qualifying was rained out, and we had just a 1.5 hour practice session. So it's going to be invaluable having those extra laps now to go race there again.
You guys got 3 races left for your guys' season, and of course you've had the practice at Salem. You're doing the testing. Does that make this the track that you feel, if you're going to get your win this year, that would be the track, or is one of the other 2 tracks more appealing? I mean, out of the 3 tracks, which one do you feel most confident going into?
I have confidence going into all of them because we're actually going to get a test at Kentucky and a test at Kansas before we race on them, which is going to be instrumental in going for that win. So again, I'll be going there with some experience on the racetrack. And as far as our track record goes this year, I've taken to the 1.5 mile races a bit more than the short tracks. It's been something that I've been better at and enjoyed more. So I would watch for those 2 last races of the year, and I'd like to get a top 5 at Salem this coming weekend. That's definitely what we're going to push for. So we'll just try to go and just keep improving on our finish from the last time, and hopefully sneak into 5th in points. That would be the main goal.
Now, I've had the opportunity to go to Kentucky last year and this year, and it was for the Xfinity Series and the Sprint Cup Series. And we've seen NASCAR make the package adjustments on the cars and the packages to make it more competitive. And we saw the results of that from last year to this year. Is NASCAR done anything, or is they doing anything to change any rule packages for you guys in any of the races, and more specifically Kentucky, since they saw so much success with changing the packages, more specifically in Kentucky again?
Everything in the series is going to remain the same for this year, and then they're going to the actual composite bodies on all the bigger tracks next year. So
Gotcha.
As we sit right now, we're no changes for these last few races, but they're going to implement that new body coming next year, and that's actually what they're going to be testing at the test that we're going to as well, to see how they perform and see where they want to make changes and adjust to run those things on the big tracks.
Now, with 3 races left in the season, from day one when you sat in that car in your very first race to where you're at now in this series, what do you have to say is the biggest adjustment, or maybe the biggest thing you had to overcome in your learning experience in this year, in this new series for you?
It's hard to pinpoint one thing. It's been a huge year as far as where we started, what I was racing back home compared to the car that we're racing here. There's very few similarities other than the fact that the cars look alike. The rear ends are different, the way they drive are different, tires different, the tracks. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but it's just been it's been an important year for learning change, like the tracks. Going back to Salem is kind of a blessing just to go somewhere that we have a few laps that I feel comfortable at. Some of these tracks like Berlin and ORP this year, I can say, we struggled at those tracks, and it was just something that the style of racetrack and never having been there before, it set us back a little bit. So everything this year has been a huge learning curve, and I think that from where we were at the beginning of the year till now is a huge step forward, and when we go into next year, we're going to be so prepared. It's going to be a really great feeling.
I bet. I just can imagine, stepping into this new series and everything that you had to learn over the entire year, and kind of do it at a rapid pace to be very competitive, and as competitive as you have. It's 2016. Are there plans starting to roll out, and do we have any idea of what 2016 is looking for you in your racing career yet?
Yeah, we've already decided that we're going to continue to run with ARCA for their big races like Daytona, Talladega, Chicago, Michigan, all those bigger tracks. That's definitely on the schedule. And then we're working towards putting together some deals for 6 to 8 truck races and possibly some Xfinity races for next year, which will be really good because we're trying to work towards getting those NASCAR licenses and moving into NASCAR.
Really good? That's really good? That's, amazing. 1 year in ARCA Series and second year you're looking at some truck races and some Xfinity Series. You say that with, casualness with that. I would be, I don't know, if it was me, I'd be shouting off the top of the mountaintops with this. I guess a little bit different than you and I don't know.
No, it's definitely exciting. It's just something that I'm trying to level head about. Think everything through. We're basically thinking of running tracks in those 2 series that we've run on with ARCA, just to get a feel for the different cars and the different tire compounds, and the more different things you can get in. We're sort of thinking, not set in stone or anything, but running some late model races at the end of the year, because the more cars that you can get in and the more experience and background you can build in your mind, the easier time you'll have, diagnosing what a car needs when you're on the racetrack and feeling different things. So I can't tell you enough how lucky I am to go from welding last year to thinking about running trucks and Xfinity next year. It's an amazing, amazing year, but like I said, just try to keep a level head and think everything through and try to sound calm, I guess, yeah.
Have you ever had the opportunity to drive any of the trucks yet? practice or testing or anything, or is this going to be like this year, just kind of all brand new to you when you step into the trucks when you do those races next year?
We're going to do some truck testing towards the end of this year so that when we get there it's not all totally new. But, again, you're going to be learning, you know, a new team, a new truck, a new perhaps track, depending where we go. You know, you're going to prepare as much as you can, but when it comes to it, you kind of got to jump in with both feet.
I'll tell you what, that's remarkable. And not only having the opportunity to be in the Truck Series, but having an opportunity also to possibly get your feet wet in the Xfinity Series and get even more exposure and get the opportunity not only to run with maybe some of your former running mates in the ARCA Series, but also the Xfinity Series. And I think whereas it's conflict of interest to me, but for you, I'm sure that it is more plus than it is negative, but having the opportunity to even compete against some of the Sprint Cup guys, such as your Kyle Bushes and Joey Logano's and Brad Keselowski that run in the Xfinity Series a lot. I know that, you know, depending on which fan you talk to, whether or not they want to see the regulars on Saturday afternoon with the Xfinity Series guys, but for you, I'm sure that has got to be even more of a bonus because now you get to go out there with these guys and you get to compete and you get to learn and get the experience with these guys on the track. And I tell you what, that is one experience I'm sure that you're gonna cherish and learn from, and definitely be ready to take advantage of the opportunity to improve what you got out there.
Yeah, exactly. I think the higher competition that you're up against, the better you're going to end up being in the end. So if you have the opportunity to race against and learn from those people in the Xfinity Series, when you get to that next level, you've got that experience or you've learned that little bit extra or that kind of thing. I think it's always good to raise yourself up when you can.
Try to think what else I wanted to get into before we let you go. Busy. Obviously, a lot of things going on with the wrapping up this series, the testing, and getting all the plans ready for the next season. Is there much on the schedule for an off season, and is there any plans? Try to get a little bit more. The fans a little bit more on the personal side here for a second. Is there any plans in the off season to do anything, family time, making any kind of trips? I know that most of us out there just visualize these drivers being on the track 36 weeks of the year. Then you got the banquet, then you got testing, then you got speed weeks, and you might have 3 or 4 weeks off is what we visualize. But is there more to that? And do you have any big plans set to kind of recharge your batteries and get ready for the 2016 season?
Yeah, it never ends really. When we sit the calendar up there and start looking at when the banquets are and when the trade shows are and different things we want to go to and the people we want to meet, possible races we can run throughout the off season. It's like, holy, we're full on the schedule already, but I do intend to make a trip home for Christmas to visit my family, and I'm not sure how long that trip will be yet. Hopefully it'll be a nice little break, but we'll see what the schedule comes out as when we finish arranging everything we want to do.
That's cool. I just visualize this never-ending schedule with sponsors and testing and everything else. I couldn't imagine. You know, I feel that I have a busy life with a full-time job and then doing the show and trying to raise kids and have a normal life. I just couldn't imagine on the road all the time and everything else. And you know, most fans I don't know if they necessarily think about everything you guys got to do on a week-to-week basis, but, you know, having the opportunity to talk to driver after driver, you know, I sit there and try to visualize what it's even like in an off-season and what little time do you guys really have in an off-season. This is not like regular sports. I mean, football only runs really from September until February, and then they got the other 6 months of the year off really to do whatever they want outside of maybe the last month or 2 months. But with preseason and training camps, but you guys don't have that same big gap of time off, and I definitely tip my hat. It is definitely a very committed career and a very committed sport to be involved with everything that has to go on. You guys got to recruit your own sponsors and all that stuff, and the NFL and all those. That's what they got those people way up there to do. And until you're way up there and you're the Earnhardts or the Danica Patricks of the world, you kind of got to market yourself and help with that whole aspect. So I definitely tip my hat to the drivers. It's definitely the most competitive sport, and I've mentioned this to a couple of different drivers. People don't think about this, but you got hundreds of thousands of drivers out there ranging from 5 to whatever age out there on Friday, Saturday nights. And then that shrinks a little bit when you get in the K&N Pro Series. Then it shrinks a little bit more when you get in the ARCA Series. Then it shrinks a little bit more when you get in the Truck Series and then the Xfinity Series and Sprint Cup. And ultimately, you're competing for what is ultimately 43 spots, and that's it. It's not the NFL where there's 32 teams with 53 spots. There's 43 spots. And about 20 to 25 of those ain't going nowhere. Your Earnhardt Juniors and your Jimmy Johnsons and all them are not going nowhere until they're retired. So ultimately, you're competing for about 20, 25 spots, and that's it. That, to me, makes racing the most competitive sport that there is out there. And I know that's got to be a lot of pressure on you guys out there being on the field and or out there on the track, and I definitely applaud you guys, and especially how you guys are so hands-on with the fans and the social media. I can only imagine how time-consuming that could be at times as well. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to throw out there real quick before. Got about 3 minutes left. I'm going to give you the opportunity if you want to plug anything else real quick, anything that's going on that the fans might want to know about to show up. I don't know if you got any PR events, charity events, or anything, or we'll throw out the social media and the site again before we get you wrapped up here in the next 2 minutes.
Sure, we're headed to Salem this weekend, and if anyone's out that way on Friday night, from 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock, they're going to be doing a downtown driver signing and some sort of a fair deal. So if anyone's around that area, that should be a fun little thing. And then we're headed to the racetrack on Saturday. Like I said on my Facebook, www.facebook.com/STC We've got a design contest going on where we have 5 designs that our fans made to vote on, see which one we're going to race on the car. We are working towards a couple more charities, which we'll be announcing shortly. And my Twitter is @SCornetChing. Got to thank Tony and everyone that works so hard on my race cars at Race 101. Road Skates Performance Products, Simpson Racing Gear, Snap-on Tools, Brutus Truck Bodies, everybody else that has a hand in what we do every week. I appreciate it, and I guess thanks for having me on the show.
I want to thank you. I don't know if you put it out there or not at the time, but Saturday's race, what time, and do you happen to know if it's live coverage or is this going to be a delayed showing of the race?
ARCA has some sort of pay-per-view deal for this race on their website. If you go to arcaracing.com, the information is there. It's a night race on Saturday, and I'm remiss to tell you that I do not know what time it starts, but it is around 6 or 7 or something like that. It's a night race, so all the information is at arcaracing.com.
Gotcha. We'll definitely have to make sure we find a way to check that out. Sarah, I definitely want to thank you again for coming on the show. It's definitely been an honor and privilege. I love having you on the show. I love having an opportunity maybe once everything gets finalized and you know without a doubt what races and what series you'll be running. We'd love to have you come back on and let us know exactly so we know where to find you on what weekends and look forward to be able to cheer you on and root for you as you continue your career. Good luck at Salem. Good luck at the final two, the other 2 races, Kentucky, and I forget, I'm sorry, what the third track was at. But I definitely want, which one? What was the third one again?
Kansas,
there you go. Definitely want to wish you luck for the rest of the season. Definitely want to wish you luck on your career, and everything is going to happen for you good in 2016, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon, and you enjoy the rest of your night, and good night.
Thank you very much. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, ma'am. That was Sarah Cornett-Ching, ARCA Series driver, 6 in the point, having a phenomenal season, rookie driver. it's great to hear these things going on. I mean, first year in the ARCA series and now Xfinity series and Truck series. It's great to hear such great things going on for her, and have an opportunity not only to hear these great things, but have her, be able to have her on the show and talk about it. It is just really cool. She's a really talented young driver, and looking forward to seeing her continue her career and only get better and better, and have opportunity to see her have an opportunity to see her out on the track in these other series. And of course, with her going to the Xfinity series and going to the Camping World Truck Series, we're going to have an opportunity to see her even more, as of course those coverages and exposure in those series is even greater. So definitely excited, definitely looking forward to having the opportunity to see her on the track. So it's just really cool, and congratulations to her. I mean, it just, I kind of, you know, and it's not even my career, and it's not even, you know, me out there. It's kind of cool. But I'm kind of excited to have guests on and get guests to return and hear how they've developed and how their career is advancing from show to show and from interview to interview. It's just really cool, and it almost makes you feel like you were part of the ride and there for it. So it's just really, you know, a really cool opportunity. I got to make sure I thank her. I got to make sure that we thank Snafu Seasoning. They are the primary sponsor of the Racing with Big Sweat show on Thursday nights. Make sure you guys check that at 9 o'clock. Get your Snafu Seasoning over at snafuseasoning.com. That's SNAFU seasoning.com. A great meat rub. Steve Dolmeyer, the host of Racing with Big Sweat, said he didn't think you could make bacon any better. He said he put some of that on his bacon, and wow, it made bacon better. Make sure you guys check it out. Order yourself a bottle of that. It's either $6.99 or $7.99. We're going to be ordering our bottle of it this week over at snafuseasoning.com. So make sure you guys check that out as well. Don't forget, we're on Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the One Team Nation Sports Show. We have Racing with Big Sweat on at 9 o'clock. Goes to anywhere from between 10 and 11, depending on the topic, and it depends on the guest roll. Some shows roll until 10, some roll 10:30, some 11 o'clock. But it's 9 till whenever Big Sweat says it's time to go, that's when we stop. So make sure you guys check that out. Also, if you're new to listening to 110 Nation Sports Radio Network, you can catch us on the Blog Talk Radio Network. You can check us on Spreaker. You can check us on SoundTunes, iTunes, and Stitcher. Very, very many, and we got more ways coming. And as a matter of fact, I think the quality of the show and the sound is it's pretty decent. I'm not going to say it's the greatest, but it could be worse, and I've heard worse, and we've had episodes that the sounds and the equipment, and don't be wrong, it sounds like we got the cheapest equipment here. I've purchased quite a bit of expensive equipment, but we are looking into, and this is the next project, we are looking into buying a very nice, expensive microphone. Hopefully it takes away any little, in my ears I can hear that noise a little bit, any kind of static, anything else, and so just bear with us as we continue to improve the quality of the show. I know when I get to do the Mr. CJ Sports Uninterrupted on Twitter, and I get to use it actually on my I actually get to use it on my phone, an app on the phone. It's actually the best quality sound. If you've not heard Mr. CJ Sports Uninterrupted, you check that out one time. It is actually a very good quality sounding show. And sadly enough, it is with the $10 headset and my phone. It's not with, I have a mixer for the show. I have an actual microphone and everything else in the computer. But we are doing our research. We are looking into improving the sounds and bringing it even a better quality. So we're definitely in the works of that as well. And I got to do a second here. I got to do a special thank you. And my PR lady here has no idea what I'm about to say, nor does she have any idea where this is about to go to or anything. Miss Lee does a phenomenal job. All the guests that we have on this show go through her. Yes, I have found some of them. Yes, some of them have contacted me, but I always send them to her. She does all the scheduling. She keeps all the relationships with all our guests. I can only imagine. I'm sorry. Now, just bump the mic this time, Miss Lee. That was me this time. But honestly, I was not on the keyboard earlier until I messaged you back. That must have been the dog in the background. I have not been on the typewriter or the typewriter. There you go. You got me saying typewriter, keyboard. But I can imagine what her book. I keep a calendar with everything we do, with every guest. Everything gets sent out, and I know what my book looks like. With all the information she gets from everybody, with their PRs, themselves, and everything else, I can imagine what kind of book or whatever, how she keeps track of everything. Does a phenomenal job. Anybody that returns to the show, regardless if I'm the original person that sent them that way or not, if they return to the show, that's all her doing. She does a phenomenal job of keeping in touch, keeping everything organized, keeping me in line and everything else. I guarantee you guys have no idea how many times Miss Lee has, yes, she has put the CEO, the man in charge of this company in place enough times that I can't even count. And very thankful for that. But that's not even where I'm going with it. And I got to make sure that I thank her husband once again, because without his understanding and his, I hate using this word allowing, but he does give up a lot of them time, so she has a lot of 110 time, and I very, very much greatly appreciate that. I finally got to be in a relationship that I get the same kind of allowance, I guess we're going to use that word, and before I didn't get that, and so I know there's a lot of give and take, and I know how appreciative I am at my end, and even more so at that end, because this was originally my dream that, yes, Miss Leah came on, but it's become her dream as well. But, you know, there was a lot of having to selling in on this dream to make it where it was a give and take situation. And I'm not going to go into the details, and I don't know all the details at that end, but I am very greatly appreciated because I know the headaches and a 13-year relationship that this ultimately killed to get where we're at. So I know what can possibly come of it, and I got to thank him as well. Not even going there. We've had this discussion before. It is very easily, it would be very easy, especially on nights that Miss Lee worked, such as last night, where you say, you know what, I worked, I want to go to bed, or I worked, I don't feel like listen to the show, I worked, the show's over with, whatever. Miss Lee goes back and listens to every show. I don't know if she listens to Mr. CJ Sports Uninterrupted. I've never asked. I've never asked her if she's gone back and listened to every show. I can see it when I log into Blog Talk Radio. It lets me know exactly who logs in. If you are a follower and if you not follow the show, you need to follow on Blog Talk Radio. That way you know when the shows are coming out, especially if you don't follow us on Facebook. But it allows me to see who goes back and watches the show, that is following the show, that has logged into the show. But she comments. Yes, she messaged me at 3 o'clock this morning. The first time was at 2 o'clock. She had just listened to the show, and I responded back. I happened to be still up. The next time she messaged me was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and, you know, there was no reply needed kind of, you know, message, just blah, blah, blah. And you have no idea what that meant to Shorty and myself when we wake up in the morning and we know that our PR lady that has listened to me talk for now 301 episodes. I meant to say something about it yesterday, but on BTR, we are 301. Yesterday was our 300th episode on BTR. It's not a 300 episode period. We're probably more of about the range of 500 to 600 because we're there for a while. We just did Spreecast, and then I have Mr. CJ Sports Uninterrupted. We've had different accounts when it was the Go Radio. As a matter of fact, we're probably more like 750, maybe even close to 1,000 at this point. But right now, BTR, we're now on 301, but I meant to say something yesterday about being our 300th episode over there on this account. It is very easy for her to say, you know what, I've listened to this guy talk 1,000 times. I know most of his opinions. It is 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I have other things I could be doing. I could be doing public relations. I could be doing, stuff for the site. I could be doing this. I could be doing stuff with my husband. I could be watching TV. Instead, Miss Lee, every single show, at least the 110 Nation Sports Show, and I know she catches a lot of the Racing with Big Sweat, maybe all those as well. A lot of times she's in the chat room or message me, so I know she does. It is very easy for her to miss shows and nobody not know anything because we all know that she has her own life and she has things going on and work and everything else. And it is very easy just to say, you know what, I've heard this guy talk a million times. But to wake up and know every morning, because I get a message regardless if it's a great show, regardless if the guest says something, 9 out of 10 times the guest says something, yes, they had a great time, yes, they want to come back, and this, that, and the other, just like she messaged me with letting me know that Sarah's stuff when she was just talking about with the wraps on the car, it's already been posted to the Facebook page. But to wake up and know that I get a message regardless how the show goes, what I need to fix, yes, she is my biggest critique. There's hardly a show goes by that I don't get to hear something that needs to either be fixed, changed, or a suggestion, and I take all of them in, and I don't take any of it personal. I know sometimes she feels that she might be stepping on some toes. I don't take anything personal. We want to be the number one show out there. We want to eventually be in a studio where we are 24/7. We eventually want to be on as many platforms and heard by as many people as possible. We are trying our hardest to bring as many guests as we can on the show, and we're working even harder to try to be a little bit more diverse. I know most of our guests happen to be in the racing field. It just so happens they are the most willing to come on shows. They are the most public related. For some reason, it's a little bit more difficult to get NBA, NFL, unless you're the ESPNs and Fox Sports. They're a little bit more about the money and the spotlight. NASCAR drivers and race car drivers, they're more about promoting themselves and getting the fan base. It's night and day when it comes to this. Having someone on board through the thick and the thin, you guys got to remember, she and those that are new to the 110 Nation, she was there when everything kind of crumbled and the 13-year relationship came to an end, and there wasn't a show for a couple months, and I lost essentially my whole family, and it wasn't so much the fact of my ex, but my kids moved, and then my dog died, and I'm not trying to make this into a country song or anything, but Miss Lee was there. Miss Lee consistently checked in, wanted to know what was going on, how I was doing, this, that, and the other. Once day one, when we got back on the air, she kind of stepped into this role and has been there ever since. Yes, we've had a couple other bumps in the road with technical problems and everything else, and she has stuck through it and been there and constantly, checked in and everything else. All those things, you have no idea how much that stuff meant to me. But it was more of a reality check this morning that there is not a single show that goes by, even with everything else this woman does for the 110 Nation and her dedication to the 110 Nation. Everything I know she does. But to top it all up, there is not a single show that she misses. There is not one single person out there in this world I can honestly say about that. Nobody. Not in a current relationship, not in a past relationship, not another person part of the 110 Nation. There is not one person out there, I guarantee you, there's not one person that can honestly come to me face-to-face, phone call, text message, Facebook, Twitter. It don't matter how you would be able to contact me. I guarantee you there's not one other person out there that is honestly could say, I have not missed a single show. And I got to thank you, Miss Lee, because out of everything that you do for us and everything that is on your plate, personal and professionally, for some reason that sticks out to me more than anything, because you spend 2 to 3 hours a day dedicated to a show that if you miss, you still watch with everything else you could be doing. And like I said, I know there's a lot of things that we've been through over the last almost 2 years, and a lot of things that you've gone above and beyond, especially when there was a lot of downtime and a lot of personal stuff going on with me. And don't get me wrong, it meant a lot, and there was not too many people in my corner. But to have somebody that does not miss a single show, that has heard me talk probably more than anybody I've ever been with, even in a 13-year relationship, a lot of times there was no talking. And to have somebody for almost 2 years now at this point listen to me talk at least 6, maybe 8 hours a week at least, just talk. Could be doing other things, don't get me wrong. That hit at home this morning, and I got to say, and I know I'm taking away a little bit from the show, but that because we don't talk. This is about I think we've had one phone call conversation, and we've gone to the track at the same time, and we got to meet each other for the first time last year. Myself, Miss Lee, and her husband was a. And I just lost my thought, but it just means a lot. Like I said, we got to meet last year for the first time, and there's not a lot of conversation there. There's messages back and forth on Facebook. There's some emails, not even a lot of emails, but to know that she's 300 episodes on this account alone, and not counting Spreecast, and not counting Spreaker, and not counting the previous accounts. That's a lot of time. I tell you what, I'll be 100% honest. There has never been another female in my life that has ever listened to me talk this much, especially about sports. I got to say, Shorty, honestly, is probably a nice close second. She does listen to me a lot, not that she really wants to. She don't go back and listen to the show. She don't listen to me that much. She gets enough of me living with me. Yes, it was kind of a reality check this morning. I never really thought about it, I guess. That someone, especially that works for the company and that listens to me as much as she has ever just goes back and listens to the show. So it's she has a choice. She could leave. She's been asleep since the beginning of this show, so she has her choices. I'm not trying to bust Shorty's shop. She's not feeling good. Her stomach started bothering her probably about 30 minutes to an hour before the show. As a matter of fact, she picked me up from work. She actually got out of the driver's seat and let me drive. And since we've been down to one vehicle, probably about 4 or 5 months at this point, this was the first time that she's picked me up and got out of the driver's seat to let me drive. So I knew something wasn't right. So I and of course, one of the Monday nights, usually she's at work. A lot of times she'll call in and listen to it. She'll listen to as much as she can. Sometimes Tuesday and Wednesday she's involved with the show. Sometimes she listens to the show. Other times, we use that opportunity because I work all day and she's got the kids all day, and then the kids are finally asleep. When the show starts. So a lot of times she uses that opportunity to go do the Walmart run or do this run or do that run or have to take care of something at work or whatever. That way she don't have to drag everybody around. So, but I just got to say thank you, Miss Lee, because I've never really thought about the fact that you listen to every single show, even if you miss it. It wasn't until the last couple of messages I was like, man, she listens to every show. Like if she's not there, and we've been doing this for 4 years. I have never had this kind of loyalty or dedication or passion is even Miss Lee, and she should say the same thing. We have had a lot of people come and go. This is a never-ending cycle, never-ending Ferris wheel here. People, either use us as a leap forward into bigger, better things. They get tired of doing it. It is a very time-consuming thing, especially writing. And doing shows, and I think we saw the Ferris wheel again. I have my opinions on what we got going on right now, and what I don't think is going to keep going on. But there's only been a few that have really been there, and I might say a few. Miss Lee has really been the only one that's been there. Everybody else had their streaks where they've been really interested. And I'll take it back. I want to throw Izzo in there. Ever since Izzo's been part of the 110 Nation, I know he listens to a lot of shows. I know he don't listen to them all, but he does a very good job of being prepared for the show. I don't have to say two words usually on a Tuesday night when he's on. He talked for 40 minutes straight last night. I might have said, and that's right, about once, and that was about it. He's also a blessing in disguise, but nothing will ever compare to Miss Lee, what she does and how she approaches and her dedication to this company. I just want to throw that out there and everything else. And we'll be looking up your address back in the messages because I keep forgetting to write it down, Miss Lee, but I will be sending that out. It is going to be sent out today or tomorrow, but what I told you is going to be sent out is going to be sent out. Like I told you last week, that we sent it out this week. I just had to wait until we got everything situated, but still playing makeup and catch up, so we'll get that taken care of, and we'll be all back on track and everything. So finish the top power ranking teams. We got down to number 12. Kansas City Chiefs, victorious this weekend over the very, I'm not going to say worthy opponent. We didn't really know what to expect of the Houston Texans. But, a team that, we figured we finished probably second in the AFC South. And so, I mean, I can live with them being a top 12. Arizona, 11th. Kind of high. I would have them above the Steelers, probably ahead of the Dolphins, probably ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals. Maybe toe-to-toe with the Ravens, even though the Ravens lost. But these are other teams that these are other teams that are ahead of them that I feel that the Arizona Cardinals should probably be above. Number 10 on is the Steelers with a loss, and them pointing fingers to blame the Patriots of cheating in order to win. Top 10, maybe top 15. Miami Dolphins in the top 10 and 9th. I like them being in the top 10. I don't like them being in front of the Arizona Cardinals. I just think that Arizona Cardinals are picked up where they left off and being the best team in the AFC West and a serious threat of being one of the best teams, the NFC West, and being a serious threat of being one of the top teams in the NFC, period. Cincinnati Bengals at the 8th spot with their win. Yes, you beat up on the Oakland Raiders. So what? Top 10, maybe a bit much. We all know how the Cincinnati Bengals story is going to go. They're gonna be nice at the beginning of the season, look impressive. Get to the last 3 or 4 games, Andy Dalton's going to fall apart, make the playoffs. Marvin Lewis can't win in the playoffs, nor can Andy Dalton, and that's going to be the end of the season. Why power ranking so high now? Well, we know all too well what's going to happen. Baltimore Ravens, number 7, did not allow the Denver Broncos to score a touchdown, yet could not manage to win. With that being said, top 7, maybe top 10. You don't got Terrell Suggs now. Joe Flacco threw for 117 yards in the season opener. You really don't have that many wide receiver threats. You lost Torrey Smith and and Jacoby Jones. So you Steve Smith's really your only target at this point. I don't see the Ravens having that great of a season, and they a little bit high ranked. Dallas Cowboys number 6, maybe in the top 5. I would probably put them in front of the Indianapolis Colts. Colts, you looked horrible against the Buffalo Bills. This was a team that we had you flat favored to be the AFC South champions and potentially being really the only threat to the New England Patriots. Now we got to rethink things. Colts 6. The Cowboys 6 and the Colts 5th. I'd like to see those at least flip-flop. And maybe I'd be a little bit more happy with that. Denver Broncos top 4. Cowboys, I'm sorry, but you can't have a team that couldn't even muster up a touchdown in week 1. Peyton Manning led. You paid all that money for Demaryius Thomas and all that money you invested in that team, and you couldn't even muster up a touchdown on the offense. I have an issue with you being a top 4 team. Maybe a top 7 team, and that's fortunate. I would like to see the Cowboys in front of them. Once again, I'd like to see the Arizona Cardinals in front of them. Maybe even the Miami Dolphins in front of them, but I don't necessarily agree with the top 4. Green Bay Packers number 3. No, I don't agree with. And I'm about to tell you why. New England, they actually have number 2 instead of number 1. Seattle, they still have on top. A Seattle team that lost and has lost a lot of pieces to that team because of contracts. It should read New England number 1, Green Bay number 2, Seattle Seahawks number 3. It will read that after this week because Green Bay will beat the Seattle Seahawks. New England will beat Buffalo. So we will see that. We will see that scenario played out, and that's how it's going to roll. Speaking of how it's going to roll and who's going to beat who, let's get to. We got 30 minutes. We got to get this. We got to get this thing going. We got to get this party started. We got to get our NFL picks out for this week. This is it. Tomorrow is racing with Big Sweat. There's no other opportunities. Thursday night, you got the Denver Broncos going into the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sorry, that offense is not going to be shut down 2 weeks in a row. That offense is going to get in the end zone. That offense is going to get in the end zone a lot. The Denver Broncos are going to beat up on the Kansas City Chiefs. There is no doubt in my mind that the Denver Broncos are going to start off this season 2-0. Kansas City is going to fall 1-1. Denver is the better team of those two. San Diego still is my favorite to win the West, but I think Denver Broncos is going to make it where Phillip Rivers and those starters are going to have to play late into the season, such as Week 16, Week 17 kind of ordeal. Is not going to give the San Diego Chargers an opportunity to really rest their players. Next matchup on the docket is the Detroit Lions going into Minnesota. Minnesota scored 3 measly points. Teddy Bridgewater, exactly what I projected to Teddy Bridgewater. More disappointed in the fact that Adrian Peterson ran 10 times for 31 yards. Really expected a lot more of that. Detroit's defense might not be as good as that 49ers defense looked, but at the same time, Detroit's offense, very explosive, has a lot of weapons. I got Detroit going into Minnesota, beating the Minnesota Vikings. Next, Tampa Bay against New Orleans Saints. Is this a joke? Is New Orleans blessed with 3 bye weeks, 2 against Tampa Bay in their actual bye week? Jameis Winston is still quarterback, so that means New Orleans Saints, you got this one in the bag. Probably at least a 3-touchdown spread on this game. New Orleans at home over Tampa Bay. Atlanta goes into New York against the Giants, Atlanta team that came back at the end to win their game, a New York Giants team that managed to lose as their game was winding down. I like what we saw of the Atlanta Falcons. I like that offense. I like that defense. Giants, you impressed me, and you played a lot better than I expected you to play against the Dallas Cowboys. But with that being said, I like ATL. I like the Dirty Birds. I like them going into to New Jersey, not New York, and beat the Giants. I don't get that. Anyway, big matchup for this weekend. Probably going to be the most viewed game of the weekend, most talked about game of the weekend. Very, very highly anticipated game, and that is the New England Patriots going to Buffalo. Depending on what fan you ask, you're going to get 2 different answers and who you think or who they think is going to win. to me, this doesn't come down to necessarily the players on the field, even though at the quarterback position, obviously it is a clear-cut favorite that Tom Brady is the better quarterback. To me, it comes down more to systems. There is no better system in the NFL than a Bill Belichick system. It doesn't matter which player gets hurt. There's always a player that can play that role, maybe not as good, but play that role efficiently enough to win games. I mean, hell, we watched Tom Brady go down and Matt Castle come in and lead the New England Patriots to, 11-5, 12-4 record, something like that, 10-6, somewhere in that ballpark figure. Matt Castle, a quarterback that has never had any kind of relevancy in the NFL since. One season, that was it, under a Bill Belichick system, the same system that we have watched year in and year out. That is probably the most turnover ratio team, and yes, I'm using actual work terminology and turnover rate, but that New England Patriots team has probably the highest turnover rate in any team. There's hardly ever the same wide receivers. There's hardly ever the same quarterbacks. There's hardly ever the same running backs. The only thing that seems to be consistent is the fact that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. That's about it. Every other piece is replaceable, movable, interchangeable, and at times have to be. We watch the offensive players play defense. We watch defensive players play offense. There is not nothing that is not required or expected when you play in the Bill Belichick system. And ultimately, that is the best system. That is a system that has been set up for success with all the Super Bowl rings and all the Super Bowl appearances this New England Patriots team has had. With that being said, talent on the field, Buffalo, you got a running back, you got some wide receivers. Your defense, very impressive. You shut down you shut down the Indianapolis Colts. You shut down Andrew Luck. That's, when you compare wide receivers, I mean, Elderman, Amendola, I'm not going to go Gronkowski because ain't nobody got enough for Gronkowski. On the other side of the ball, you got Percy Harmons. You got Sammy Watkins. You got LaShawn McCoy in the backfield. Yes, Taylor's about your weakest link, your offense, your quarterback. But I give Buffalo this. I would give Buffalo this. There is a lot of talent out there on that field. But ultimately, to me, it comes down to systems. There is no greater system than the Bill Belichick system. And therefore, New England Patriots going to Buffalo will be victorious. And we're going to have to hear Rex Ryan leading up to this game run his mouth. And I am praying to God we don't have to after, but I'm sure we will hear something. Arizona goes into Chicago. Arizona team that I am highly, once again, sold on like I was last year, very talented on both sides of the field. Even with Ellington going down, you got Chris Johnson in the backfield. Might not be as productive as Ellington, might not be as productive as Ellington, but still is a running back that has a lot of potential to being a real threat. Chicago, you still got Jay Cutler. I don't even know what to say about the Chicago Bears. I honestly expect at some point for this Chicago Bears team to be that Chicago Bears team that I grew up watching, that 85 Chicago Bears, that Chicago Bears that was feared by everybody. Right now, you're just the laughing stock of the NFL. And that is something that is probably not going to change anytime soon. Definitely not going to change with Jay Cutler as your quarterback. I just honestly, I am waiting. I want it to happen. I want to have a reason to pick the Chicago Bears. I want a reason to watch the Chicago Bears other than just watch them because they're on TV or it's just a game. That outside of your quarterback position, there's a lot of talent. Bennett and the tight end, Jeffries and Royal as your wide receivers, Forte. There's a lot to be said about the Chicago Bears team. Outside of the quarterback position, outside of Jay Cutler and Jimmy Clausen, those are your weakest links. Yes, we want to see a defense that is a little stingier and a little more aggressive. That Chicago Bears defense that we know so well and that we loved growing up. They've lost a lot of that, but there's enough pieces on that offense. The Chicago Bears team should really not be as horrible as they are. They just shouldn't. Next matchup, a rematch of our playoffs here. San Diego and Cincinnati. This ought to be back in Cincinnati once again. The only difference is at the beginning of the season, there had been playoffs at the end of the season. We knew which way this was going to go. It was going to be San Diego's game. As Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis just can't win in the playoffs. They just can't. But at the beginning of the season, this matchup should be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more closer than we would like it to see. I still think the San Diego Chargers are your AFC West team. They are probably the second, maybe third best team in the AFC, period. I have San Diego, Phillip Rivers, new contract, showing the world. There's a reason why he got a contract extension. There's a reason why he's still in the NFL. I have San Diego going into Cincinnati, being victorious over the Bengals. Tennessee and Cleveland. I know picking Cleveland last week was a mistake. I should have known better going into New York. I didn't. I still honestly, if I still had to pick it again, I would still pick the Cleveland Browns, and I would still pick no touchdown scored instead of this 31-10 garbage that happened. You had Tennessee victorious all over Tampa Bay. A lot of people are all in on Tennessee. A lot of people are all in on Mariota. You play Tampa Bay, a very weak Tampa Bay defense. You just had to go against Jameis Winston. Whoop, they freaking do. Even Johnny Manziel looks good next to Jameis Winston. Facts are facts. I mean, there's no denying it. This is the Cleveland Browns defense. There's not a lot of things you can say about the Cleveland Browns. Yes, they have a nice offensive line, just protecting horrible quarterbacks. And we've even had the best wide receiver in the league, Josh Gordon, 12 games, and still led the NFL. And, of course, he just likes Mary Jane and does not want to play. But this is a legit defense. And Tennessee has got to go up against a legit defense in Cleveland with a dog pound, with a rookie quarterback. It is not happening. The Cleveland Browns will beat the Tennessee Titans this weekend. St. Louis coming off their win, a very nice win over the Seattle Seahawks, going against a Washington team that really has no clue what is going on in their own organization. And they're until RG3 is either the starting quarterback or is let go and put on another team, this team is just going to have turmoil, off-the-field distractions, and it's just going to be one big cluster, you know what. I have St. Louis, a team that is getting better every year under Jeff Fisher, a team that beat the Seattle Seahawks, a team that was just short of being a 500 record last year, could have possibly won in other divisions such as the NFC South with the Carolina Panthers only going 7-8-1, could even get a 500 record as well. St. Louis definitely on the rise. Unfortunately for them, they're in a very tough, probably the toughest division out there, the West, with Arizona, San Francisco, and Seattle. I have St. Louis going 2-0. Yes, them and the Cardinals on top, 2-0 in the the NFC West. Next game on the list, Houston and Carolina. Ryan Mallett, your quarterback. It doesn't matter which one of the two your quarterback. Carolina, yes. Carolina, yes. I'm not a Carolina fan by any stretch of the imagination, even though I am down here in North Carolina. I am still not sold on Cam Newton. He has still not showed me that he's an accurate and good decision-making quarterback. He just showed me he's got a big body. Yes, he can get lucky sometimes to get the ball to the receiver, and every once in a while he can run around. That's about all you showed me to this point. But I like the defense. As Houston, you obviously got a lot of work, and now you got even more work switching quarterbacks now. Like I said, I was kind of surprised that they said, Brian Hoyer, you're out, Ryan Mallett, you're in, that early in the season. Really, honestly, would have figured they would at least give him a couple weeks to kind of get into the rhythm and have an opportunity to have first string against first string instead of this preseason garbage. Carolina at home all day long. Steelers, 49ers. Steelers put up a good matchup against the New England Patriots, as well as the 49ers' impressive 20-3 win over the Minnesota Vikings. I said those two teams would be 2-0, and neither one of them was the San Francisco 49ers, and I said that for a reason. Steelers at home, I think is going to be too much for the San Francisco 49ers. One, the Steelers felt that they were cheated on. Two, the Steelers are controlling their own destiny. I don't think anybody is as good as the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Not the Ravens, not the Bengals, sure in hell not the Browns. So with that being said, they have to win. They know that as long as they win, they control their destiny. All the other teams except for Cincinnati lost. Cincinnati will be losing this week against San Diego. You have a chance to at least be tied for first place and kind of dictate how your playoff run goes. Steelers over the San Francisco 49ers. Baltimore and Oakland. Baltimore, you might have lost, but you allowed no offensive touchdowns to the Denver Broncos. Oakland, you didn't even score last week. I can put 1 and 1 together. I even know 2 plus 2 equals blue. And the Oakland Raiders, you're going to be black and blue. Or we're going to see black and purple out there, I guess. Baltimore all day long over the Oakland Raiders. With this defense, I wouldn't even be willing to even fathom the idea of picking any of the Oakland offensive players, or the defense for that matter, in any fantasy drafts. Yes, I had Amari Cooper. I had a low-budget player. Figured I could fill him in, hope for the best. Did not work out. Same with Derek Carr, as I went after some big power names, hoping that he'd at least throw up a couple touchdowns, a little bit of yardage, because he had some nice games last year. Did not happen against the Cincinnati Bengals. It is sure in the hell not going to happen against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore all day long. Miami going into Jacksonville. Miami, a very serious threat to the New England Patriots. It seems like every year the Miami Dolphins just get a little bit better. Eventually, they are going to be probably the top dogs in the AFC East. That is once Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are gone. Unfortunately for Miami, I'm assuming most of this roster is going to be gone by that point. I don't think anybody's going to stick it out that long to see. I'm not so much worried about Tom Brady, but Bill Belichick's probably retire. Miami, though, over Jacksonville, without a shadow of a doubt. This was an interesting matchup. We've got a lot in the next two matchups, actually. I've got a lot of conversations throughout the day, and the first one is the Dallas Cowboys at Philadelphia. Philadelphia fell short against Atlanta Falcons. Dallas comes back against the New York Giants. I don't care that Des Bryant is not in the lineup. I have the NFC East champions being the Dallas Cowboys. And for that to happen, they have to beat their rivals in that division. In other words, they have to beat the Eagles. They have to beat the Redskins. They have to beat the Giants. They took care of the Giants already once. Eagles is the next on the list. Yes, I know what potential the Eagles have. And the fact that they played a tough game. But this is the Dallas Cowboys, a much better team. This is not a Sam Bradford. Until, and like I said this last night when we had Patrick Taylor on the show, until Sam Bradford feels comfortable in that pocket, feels comfortable enough to know that he can take a hit and he is not going to be put out for the season. Until all that can happen, he is not going to play at 100%. That offense is not going to run at 100%, and they are not going to have late playoff runs or even potentially playoff runs at that matter. Sam Bradford has got to have all the confidence in the world on two things. One, he's got to have all the confidence in the world that his offensive line is going to give him all the time he needs. Second of all, he's got to have all the confidence in the world that he knows that he can take a hit and not be put out of the game. Dallas Cowboys go into Philadelphia, start their season off 2-0, give Philadelphia an 0-2 hole to dig themselves out of. Next game on the docket, which is also another interesting game, a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. Also, the rematch of the controversy touchdown/interception called with the replacement refs, the Seattle Seahawks at Green Bay. Very talented on both sides of the field. I feel that some of the talent has been injured for the Green Bay Packers, and some of the talent has to go elsewhere due to contract issues with the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is dealing with Baldwin, Jimmy Graham, and Kearse to receive balls from Wilson, with Marshawn Lynch and Fred Jackson in the backfield. Very strong. Randall Cobb, Aaron Rodgers, tight end Rodgers, Adams, the wide receivers. Yes, they're there without Jordy Nelson, Eddie Lacy, and Starks in the backfield. I expect a lot of great things out of this offense. I expect a lot of ball movement. I expect a lot of other receivers to as we know, Aaron Rodgers likes to divvy it up to everybody. I expect at home Aaron Rodgers put on a very, very nice display against the Seattle Seahawks Sunday night, prime time, an opportunity for the world to see how good this Green Bay Packer team is this year. I have them at home. And then the last matchup, the Monday night matchup, a matchup that really is not going to show us anything other than the Indianapolis Colts can beat up on the New York Jets, and then once again that the SUCKS suck. Yes. There's no doubt in my mind that the Indianapolis Colts at home will be able to be victorious over the will beat up and make it an embarrassment of the New York Jets. Just really lopsided. It's sad at the money. I wish they would switch it up. I really wish that. I know they have the flex schedule usually on Sundays and what game gets moved around. Kind of wish that Monday night would have been a Sunday game and it could have been moved away from prime time, because obviously that's not even going to be a fun game to watch. It's really not. I wish it would be. There's nothing more exciting than watching a good NFL game. Highlight and perk for us. That means less people are going to that means there's going to be more people tuning into the show and not missing the show due to a good matchup on Monday night. So I yes, one side of it sucks, but the other side of it is nice to know that it will help our attendance. I'm not delusional to think that the Monday Night Football doesn't affect the show at all. So cool opportunity to have a bigger audience. So we'll obviously have to have something planned for Monday night. Don't forget to check out our Facebook group, the 110 Nation. It's set up to let sports fans come together and talk about different headlines, topics, breaking news. Also have an opportunity to create game threads or race threads. So fans that are watching, such as the New England Patriots, the Buffalo Bills game, they can go back and forth talking to each other about the game and calls and everything else. I'm sure that there'll be a few accusations of cheating, but a good, friendly, family atmosphere. Yes, I say family, and the fact that I'm stressing the fact that we're not going to tolerate bashing, cussing, and everything else against each other. We want to have fun. We want to be spirited. We want to show enthusiasm. But at the same time, we are going to respect each other in the group. But an opportunity for everybody to come together and have fun. I've been sharing stuff in there, some of our guest stuff, the controversy on the clock, the high school helmet bashing thing, just different things, the shows, just different things going on. We got a contest running through the end of September. If we can take this group right now of 10 members, and we've had it up for about 48 hours now, We'll take this group of 10 members and turn it into the 250 members by September 30th. We are going to give out a $25 Visa gift card to one of those 250 members. I know it's not a crap ton of money, but like I said last night, all this comes strictly out of my pocket and Shorty's pocket. And so, we want to have more contests. So we're not throwing all our eggs in one basket. We want to have opportunity to have a 500 mark and, whatever. And as we get higher and higher, we're going to be looking at some team shirts and jerseys and stuff. We're going to get creative with it. But we just want to have an opportunity to grow this group, make it a great community, and have fun and help grow the 110 Nation family and fan base. So check that group out. Also, if you've not liked us on Facebook, you can like my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. You can like the site and sports side of the house, 110 Nation Sports, and the radio side and guest side of the house, 110 Nation Sports Radio. If you've not liked us on Twitter, or follow us on Twitter, you can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. You can hit up Miss Lee at CreedyRN. That's CreedyRN. Also, if you're interested in coming on the show, if you're an athlete, part of some kind of athletic organization, team, or whatever the case may be, maybe you got a site or a podcast, you want to come on and promote it and talk sports. Kind of what Patrick Taylor does with Line Blowers. He works over there at lineblowers.com, but comes over. We get an opportunity to promote it. So we love having, we love cross-promoting and stuff. Or maybe you got some kind of charity, foundation, organization, or something to that matter that you want to get out there and talk about. Make sure that you hit up Miss Lee. That is Miss Lee, that's LEE_110Nation at yahoo.com. Also, if you're interested in joining the 110 Nation, you want to co-host or host a show, as we definitely got Saturdays and Sundays open, and I have a feeling we're about to have another day open. If you're interested in writing for the 110 Nation, maybe you want to do some social media, help us with the Facebook, the Twitter, also help be an admin over in our Facebook group, or marketing, PR, whatever you are good at. All you do is hit me up, MrCJSports@gmail.com. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Racing with Big Sweat. Outside of the regulars, myself, Big Sweat himself, Steve Villmeyer, and Chris, Yellow Caution Flag Crane, which you can check out his site over at yellowcautionflag.com. We got sprint car driver McKenna Haas, I'm assuming how you pronounce that, Hasse, asphalt modified and late model driver Flying Ryan Luza, and Plymouth Speedway's own Scott Stein. Looking for an opportunity to have a great show tomorrow. Tune in and learn how Plymouth Speedway is helping injured driver Kevin Swindell. A very good opportunity and opportunity to hear that, and a very good show planned for you guys tomorrow night. Make sure you guys check that out. Also, don't forget, check out Snafu Seasoning. It is a meat rub. You can check them out at Snafu Seasoning. That's snafuseasoning.com, SNAFU seasoning.com. Make sure you check that out. I think it's either $6.99 or $7.99 for a bottle of it. You can only order it online, so make sure you guys go over there and check that out. We will we'll be ordering ours this week as well. You got to check that out. Also, don't forget, we are partnered up with Seek to Destroy Cancer. They have a big wrestling match they are putting on in March here in the Fayetteville, North Carolina area. Looking forward for the opportunity. We are going to be sponsoring Moose. He's a former Atlanta Falcon offensive line and Ring of Honor superstar, Moose Ochinakaka. I know I messed that up big time. I'm looking for an opportunity to help Seek to Destroy Cancer and help bring awareness to that particular kind of cancer. So make sure you guys look out for that. Of course, we're going to follow we got links on our webpage. Like just go to www.the110nation.com and promoting that as well. But we're going to be asking you guys to help in any way you guys can, if it's donate product or finances or whatever, to help raise money for this big cause that we're involved with in March. As a matter of fact, March 16th, 2016. So glad to be a part of that and glad to have the opportunity to be asked to help participate in that. You can check out the blog site, www.the110nationsports.com as well. I think we've got everything about wrapped up tonight. We've got a few minutes to spare, so I don't even know how to act right now. Usually I'm trying to rush out of here because we're running past time. Want to make sure that I thank everybody that has gone and liked our fan book pages as we continuously grow. It's very exciting to see that as well. I'm glad to have all the members that we have and all those that have made it over there. So I got to make sure I thank everybody. And everybody tunes in the show as we see our numbers continuously grow. As a matter of fact, there was another part I got to thank. Some of these cities I've never heard of. And I get the opportunity sometimes to learn different things. And when it comes to the site, yes, I can do the research and I can find out who I can't who. I can find out where people are that check out our articles. That's one of the great things about some of the programs that you can install to your site to learn where you're being used from. But a really cool thing was Spreaker. And I get an opportunity, and I look at this on a regular basis, on a daily basis all the time, but I get an opportunity to come and see the demographic of where people are that catch the show. And it's really because you get an idea to know who I'm feeling. Okay, sorry. Maybe it's because I moved this. I'll try to turn. I'm not quite sure. I had to work on that. I don't know if it's just one of those nights where the bars are not where they need to be because I'm down to like 2 bars right now. But I get an opportunity with Spreaker to catch where these shows are. So like I said, it gets me the opportunity to know who back home is catching the show, who in my area is catching the show, and whatnot and whatnot. And so I want to shout out some of these cities. Some of these cities I ain't never heard of. It's really cool. And that's what's cool about the Spreaker app. Not only can I do the shows on there, but I get an opportunity to kind of to see it. And that's because I put the phone back where it was at and moved the microphone. And I'm holding the microphone now. So if you hear a little bit of movement, that's why it is. But, of course, my home, well, not my hometown, but the city I'm located at now, it's got the most views. Since the show started over on Spreaker, 65% of our viewers or listeners come from the Fayetteville area. So I got to thank all my local family here that tune in the show and make 110 Nation part of their daily routine. Cardington, Ohio. Never heard of that. I lived in Ohio for the first 18 years of my life. It's a little bit north of the Dayton area, probably more towards the center of the state. I'm not sure if that is anything to do with Miss Lee's area. That is about there's 2 Ohios. I don't know if either one of these is closer to her area, and that's just where their phone registered. But I got Cardington, Ohio. Mooresburg, North Carolina. The Cardington, Ohio got 9.5% of our listens over in Spreaker. The next couple got 4.5%. Mooresburg, North Carolina. I have never heard of that. Sanford is about 10, 15 minutes from here, so I want to shout out to those in Sanford to catch the show. The rest of these get about 2.3% of our listenership on the Spreaker side of the house. Marysville, Ohio. I've never heard of that. I've not looked that up where that is at either. Maybe Miss Lee, you know where Marysville is. Chesapeake, Virginia. I have a feeling I have an idea who's checking us out in Virginia. Jersey City, New Jersey. I was rather kind of surprised that we got a New Jersey listener in the house. Erie, Pennsylvania. That is probably some of the Izzo's people. I got to shout out to them. Baytown, Texas, and Sault Ste. Marie, Canada. Northeast of Columbus and Maryville. So I just want to shout out to those. With Blog Talk, you don't get the same opportunity and see these stats. With Spreaker, you do. And so it's just really cool after an opportunity to shout out to these cities and get an idea where our show is expanding to and what part of the United States and what part of the world is listening to the show. I'm looking forward to St. Mary. And then St. Mary? Gotcha. So I'm going to do this periodically. Is it listening to a show a 4-week and then a 6-month breakdown. We've only been on the Spreaker for a few weeks, so I only had it was a 4 week, but we'll keep track of our top viewership and give them shout outs because we definitely appreciate those fans and those listeners. But it was just cool. It was just something different and something that's still kind of the last couple minutes. So I figured I would. This is the last show for the 110 Nation Sports. For the 110 Nation Sports for this week. We just got racing with Big Sweat. So I figured it was a good way to go out tonight. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, Racing with Big Sweat. check out the site, check out the blog, because we're going to have stuff going on over there. I got half a day to work tomorrow and off Friday, so I'll be looking to get a lot of things updated on the site that I've already pretty much caught up on there, so there's not really much to add to it, but looking to get some articles written over at the blog site, so you guys make sure you guys look out for that. Join the group. Help give someone $25 coming up this holiday season. I know 25 doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, Halloween, that can help take care of someone's costume, more kids' costume, more 2 kids' costume for that matter, if you go to Walmart. So you guys check that out. Join us. Help spread the word. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Miss Lee, once again, thank you. You have no idea how much you mean to me in this company, and thank you once again. You guys have a great night. Until tomorrow night, for those that catching the racing with Big Sweat, and Monday night for those that return to the 110 Nation Sports Show, you guys have a great night, and see you guys soon.